I'm counting down the days to Heroes Con. Stay tuned as we go over the comics I plan on getting signed. Welcome back, comic book fans. This is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today I've got a surprise pop-up video for you. This is not one of our regularly scheduled episodes on Mondays and Fridays, but yet a pop-up video where I'm going to be going over and counting down the days to Heroes Con coming up just in about 2 weeks, June 16th through the 18th down in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm excited about going. This will be probably my third time in the last 4 years. Of course, one of those years got canceled because of COVID, but super excited about going. There's a lot of great creators there, and in these videos over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be showing off some of the comics that I'm going to plan on getting signed while I'm down there. And we'll also go over some of the plans I have while I'm there as well. But before we begin, make sure you hit that like button, slap the subscribe, and definitely hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on great episodes just like this one that are going to be popping up between now and June 16th as we count down the days to Heroes Con. Now, let's get into the books. So one of the first creators that I want to get some books signed from is by Chris Claremont. Now, I actually got him to sign some books there last year that I ended up submitting through the facilitator that was there handling the signing. And they ended up sending it to CGC, and I was able to get some great X-Men books signed by Chris Claremont in person. And they submitted it to CGC, where they got Jim Lee to add on his signature as well as Alex Williams. And it turns out that Chris Claremont is going to be back again this year, and I've got some different books I'd like to get him to sign, and I'm going to show off some of them right here. Let's start with the first one. This right here is possibly the first appearance of Gambit. I'm not sure. I'm not going to argue that, although I personally like X-Men 266. This is X-Men Annual number 14. And you've also got, in this issue, this is also drawn by Art Adams. And my plan for this book right here is to get Chris Claremont, and I'm going to have it witnessed while I'm there. And I'm going to have CGC, I'm going to submit this right there, and I'm going to submit this so they can send it into the Art Adams signing that they're going to be having coming up at CGC in-house. So I'm excited about that because this is a book I picked up, I believe it was late last fall at a little con here in the Baltimore area, and this is in super nice shape. So I'm really hoping that this book will come out as high grade as I think it will, especially with those signatures. All right, the next book I've got coming up here is just a classic. It is Wolverine number 1. This is a spectacular copy. It is super clean. I picked this up. At another show here in the Baltimore, DC area, and it is, again, like I said, super clean. There is no spine ticks over here. I got to do a little bit of clean and press on just about every one of these books over the next 2 weeks just to make sure they're ready to go. Well, mostly on the books that I'm going to get graded, and this is a book that I'm definitely going to get graded. I've got a couple of these in the stack. I'm not going to show you one of them, but one of them definitely is one I'd like to resell, but the other one I'd like to hold on to. So if both of them come back at 9.8s, I'm going to keep one. If one of them comes out back as a 9.8, I'm probably going to keep it too, and sell the other one. But there will definitely be one of these available at some point. But what a great issue. This is by the late, great John Buscema, and just some great artwork. And then the last book that I have right here, and I'll talk about one other after this, but I don't have it on me. As you see, I'm not in my normal location. I'm off location in the West Virginia hills, beautiful Appalachia. We've got X-Men 268. Now, this is the book that I had gotten signed last year. Got Jim Lee to sign and Alex Williams to sign as well. It's my favorite X-Men Jim Lee book. It is the first appearance of the new Psylocke. And only reason I'm getting another one of these signed is you can see, I'm going to zoom in. I picked this up at a show, and it already has Jim Lee on there. So I'm going to add Chris Claremont to this. Now, I can't send this to CGC, but I can definitely hold on to it and maybe just keep it raw, or at some point, if it really is a really nice issue, I got to check this black spine over here. I may send it in to CBCS, but for the moment, it's just a book to get signed to throw into the PC. All right, so that's it for Chris Claremont. And as I go over each one of these videos that you're going to see over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing different artists on different ones. And in today's video, I'm just going to talk about 3 different comic book creators. And then the next one that may pop up in the day or two, I'm not even sure what the schedule is going to be. That's why you got to hit that notification bell. I'll go over other artists I'm going to get signatures from. But let's go over this one. Oh, what am I doing? I forgot one more. It snuck in here. And I also said I was going to talk about one other book by Chris Claremont. But this is the other one that I have on hand at the moment. This is New Mutants number 18 by the great Bill Sienkiewicz. And Bill Sienkiewicz was supposed to be at HeroesCon this year. In fact, he was the very first guest they signed up, and he was one of the very first that ended up canceling. And that threw a lot of my plans for this show into limbo. But my plan is to take this book, get Chris Claremont. I'm going to go ahead and get it graded because I will see, hopefully, fingers crossed, see Bill Sienkiewicz down the road at some point, and I will have to crack it open, but I'd like to get both of them on this book right here. And then the last book by Chris Claremont that I'm going to take with me, and I'm sorry I don't have it on me, it's actually up in Maryland waiting to go to HeroesCon, is a book I had sent out to his signing down at CGC. Chris Claremont had a private signing here a few months ago, and I sent a copy of X-Men 213, the Alan Davis issue, the classic Wolverine Sabretooth cover, the issue where Psylocke ends up joining the X-Men. And I sent that in the CGC for the Chris Claremont signing. Got it back. I got my 9.8. If you guys have followed the channel at all, you know that that is an issue that had been a white elephant for me for a long time. I pick up that book all the time, but the back cover is so dark that you just pick up a spine tick so easily. And I finally got able to clean and press a copy myself. I found it in the wild at some store someplace or a show, and I finally got one in, and I finally got that 9.8, and I got it signed by Chris Claremont. So the idea was I'm going to take that one down to Charlotte. I'm going to have it cracked open and add Alan Davis to that book, and then have it regraded and resealed and everything like that. So hopefully it'll retain that grade. So I'm excited about that, but that is all of the books that I'm going to take to Chris Claremont. Oh, technically that last one he already signed. But let's get into the second artist. Second artist is going to be John Romita Jr. Now, he also was at HeroesCon last year. And I'll tell you a little story about that. It was my first foray into getting books signed at a con that I was going to end up submitting. And to complicate matters, it was going to be multiple signed on this book. And I sort of needed a little hand-holding by the facilitator. And they had John Romita Jr. right there. And I was going to get the brand new, at the time last year, the brand new Spider-Man #1 signed. And right around the corner at the same booth by the same facilitator was his inker, Scott Hanna. And so this is what we're going to do. We're going to go up there, and I had other books for John Romita as well, but we're going to get this book signed, and then literally we're going to walk around the corner, and we're going to get Scott Hanna to sign as well. And then I was going to give the book to them, and they were going to submit it and get it back from CGC. Well, I did get it back from CGC. I got my 9.8. They obviously witnessed the John Romita Jr. autograph, but they did not acknowledge the Scott Hanna. And I went back to the form, and I realized when I filled out the form, I forgot to put down Scott Hanna. And as I said, I was a newbie. I was giving this to the facilitator, and they looked it over. Everything's fine. We literally just got both artists to sign this, and they looked it over, and they missed it too. So fault's on me and fault's on them, but I'm going to do a do-over. This is a do-over comic now for me. I'm going to get both of them again. I'm going to do it right this time. So this is one of the books I'm going to get John Romita Jr. to sign again, and as well as Scott Hanna. And I'm debating on this right here because this is a book I really like the cover, but my plans are going to be like this. I'm going to take this book. It is Spider-Man 568. This is one of the variant covers, New Ways to Die. And I've actually got the color version as well. And I may or may not get, depending on the prices and how much they're charging this year, I may only get one signed. We'll see about that. But the idea is to take this to Baltimore, and also get Klaus Janson, who did the inking, and Mark Waid, who did some of the writing in this book. So I'm going to do the 3 autograph on 1 book kind of thing right here. It's one of my things I like to do. Is I just don't like to get books signed all the time. It's gotten very expensive, but I do like to do books where I've got multiple creators on there. So I don't know if I'm going to start this one as a project or not. It's optional depending on how much John Romita Jr. is signing this year, but I may get this signed, but I'll end up taking this to Baltimore Comic-Con where Klaus Janson and Mark Waid are this year. So we'll see about that. That's a project to be determined. And then the last artist for today is somebody that was a late ad. In fact, they just added him over the last couple weeks at Heroes Con, and it sort of really makes up for losing Bill Sienkiewicz, who was my #1 there. Now, I won't say this is one of my #1 artists and everything, but it's definitely somebody who did some work this year that over the last couple years that there's been a couple covers that he's done that just outstanding. Well, most of them are outstanding. Don't get me wrong, but the books, I should say, it's from the same issue. He did multiple variants for the same issue. I don't know. It struck me, and I had to get those books, and I had to get them graded, and I did. I eventually got my 9.8 versions of this book, and I'll show you what they are. But when they added David Nakayama to the show, I'm like, okay, I've got to get additional copies now. So I went out, and I ended up finding new copies out there. In fact, it was a lot cheaper now than it was a year ago. But nonetheless, I'll show you what they are. It's This is Daredevil number 29 from the new series, and you've got the matching covers of Elektra as Elektra and one, and then you've got Elektra as her new Daredevil persona on the other. Now, as I said, I've got both of these in my PC. Books I just wanted to get graded just to hold on to. It wasn't for any value add or anything. It's books I just absolutely love these covers. And plan now is to take both of these right here to Heroes Con to get David Nakayama to sign them in person. I may get them CGC'd as well, so I may end up with additional copies of that, but these I want to get signed. And then the other book, actually, I'm looking here. Where is everything? Yeah, there it is. I've laid the books down all around me here. And I've got 2 different other books I'm going to show you that I'm going to get him to sign. This one I'm not going to get CGC'd, but I do want to get him signed. It's one of the brand new book. It just came out. It's Action Comics 1051, and you got this beautiful Power Girl cover right there. And I thought that was really striking, but that should look really nice signed. And then this one I probably will get graded as well, with the idea of keeping one and then selling one. But I've got 2 copies of this. This is, what is it, X-Men Forever? Or is it just regular X-Men from the new run? It is the Virgin edition to this, which it makes it a little bit more desirable, I guess. But like I said, I got 2 copies of it. You've got the new Wolverine X-23 right there. And excited about getting one of these signed for the PC, but I'm also excited that I could possibly get a second one that I could probably give to somebody else out there in the community. But that's it. Those are the books from these 3 artists, and 4 if you count Alan Davis, that I'm going to end up taking to Heroes Con. And some of the videos that are going to be coming up, I'm going to show you some of the other artists and some of the other books that I'm going to get signed. And I'm looking forward to going to Heroes Con this year, as I do every year. Again, Bill Sienkiewicz is not going to be there, but you've got plenty of other great artists. And if any of you guys are going to be at Heroes Con, I hope you stop me. If you see me, stop me and say hi. I'd love to meet anybody who's there. And if you guys aren't coming, let me know what show you're going to be at. I'd love to meet you guys at any point. And, I'm definitely from the Baltimore, D.C. area. So any shows you have in the area there, stop by and say hi. But that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this pop-up video. I don't know when the next pop-up show is going to be, but as I said, I'm probably going to do 2 or 3 of these shows leading up to Heroes Con, and then I still have my regularly scheduled episodes. They are still going to be Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. These shows here probably will pop up at 10 a.m. just on random days at this point. So Hope you enjoyed this. Definitely leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on these books from this video. And let me know if you're coming to Heroes Con, because I'd love to meet you there, guys. So that's it for today, guys. I will see you for the next show. And remember, every comic has a story.